Hello friends, foes, and other watchers on the internet. My name is Matt, and you're watching Hogwash Gaming. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the mechanics of RPGs. Okay, so we're going through a story, but how exactly? First off, you need to know that there are two types of players. There are the character players, and then the GM, the Game Master. Now, the Game Master's job is to create the world. They're coming up with the story, they know what the adventure is going to be, and they act out all of the things that happen around the characters. They set the stage. As the characters interact with the world, the GM says what happens. For instance, at the beginning of the game, the GM would say something like, "Alright you guys, you just walked into a tavern. As you sit there drinking your ale, a weary traveler comes in and makes his way to the bar. He sits down heavily and he calls to the bartender, 'Your strongest drink, please, and water for my horses.' What do you guys do?" And then the players in turn say, "Well, I think I'm gonna walk up to the bar and sit next to him." And another player might say, "I look out the window to see why this man has more than one horse." And then the GM says, "Very well, you go and sit down next to him," and he looks at you with tired and weary eyes, and then turns back to his drink. You make a perception check. You'll notice I said make a perception check. Well, checks are important parts of these games. They're also known as tests or simply rolling. And what that means is you're going to roll die, and the outcome of that roll will say how well you succeeded or if you failed. Checks are usually rolled when there's a chance of failure or if there's a consequence to an action. For instance, if I had a character and there was a rushing stream that he had to get across, I could say, "Alright, I want to jump over this river." Then I would have to roll a dexterity check. And if the GM thought that I had rolled high enough, then I would succeed in jumping over the river. And the same goes for combat. If I wanted to attack another character, then I would roll dice and see if my attack roll was high enough, then I get past his defenses and actually hit him for some damage. Now you may be wondering, how does a GM come up with how high you have to roll? Well, it's all up to the GM, really. Some RPGs go out of their way to just explain what things make what happen, and that can get really, really complicated. But usually what it's like is this. Something that is pretty easy to do, you have to roll higher than 5 on a d20. If you want to do something that's average difficulty, you need to roll a 10. If you want to roll something that's kinda hard, you have to roll higher than a 15. And if you want to do something really, really hard, you have to get 20 or more. How do you get something higher than a 20, you may ask? Well, that's where modifiers come in. And those are a little more complicated. Basically, there are different things that can add or subtract numbers to your rolls. Like if your character was shot by a tranquilizer dart, their abilities are going to go way down. So even though you may roll a 15, your roll will suffer a deduction. Now on the other hand, there are things that you don't need to have a roll for, like walking downstairs. That's not really a difficult task to do. Now let's go back to the tranquilizer dart. If you got hit by a tranquilizer dart, something easy might become really, really hard. So your GM will probably make you roll to see if you can actually walk down the stairs without falling. You see, it's all up to the GM what circumstances make things harder or easier. And let's face it, it's a little more exciting when there's a chance you can fail. Because when you succeed, it makes it that much more cooler. Now, not all RPGs use the D20 example. Games like Hero Quest or the Mouse Guard RPG, yep, I got it, use a number of D6s. Usually the numbers 1 through 3 are failures, and the numbers 4 through 6 are successes. And so, depending on how good your circumstances are, you may be rolling a lot of dice, or just a few dice. In the next video, I'm going to be explaining classes and races and other choices that you can make in RPGs. So until next time, this is Hogwash. over and out.